What's up, everybody? It's another episode of the Rican Brothers Raidernation podcast coming to you for the post-game reaction to the Miami Dolphins Las Vegas Raiders game, where we were once again victorious and off to a 3-0 start. What's up, Anthony? How's it going, my brother?
Bro, I love it. I love it. Everything's going great this week. Things couldn't be better. Well, they could be better, but I'm enjoying where we're at right now.
Absolutely, man. So I know that you have watched the game. I actually watched the game at my girl's cousin's house, and we were getting rowdy. He's another Raider fan. Shouts out to Lano for inviting me over, man. Had a really good time. Drank good, ate good, just had an overall good time, man. I'll give you my reactions. What is your, I guess, knee-jerk reaction to the win and how we won in overtime fashion, man?
Knee-jerk reaction is offense and defense didn't play up to my standards. That's knee-jerk reaction.
Okay.
After looking at the film a little bit more, I have different perspective because I went back and saw a couple of things.
Yeah.
But knee-jerk reaction was it was too close for comfort for me.
You know, same with me, man, because the thing is when we were when we were talking about this game, you know, we had kind of something in mind where the defense was going to be really dominant, which I will talk about that because I do think we did still have a really great defensive performance, but the offense didn't really, it didn't really stand up to like what I expected going into the week, where I knew Miami was going to play well coming off of a 35-0 loss to the Bills. I mean, and especially with Jacoby Brissett, you know, kind of given that moment to shine. Tua was out. You know, the fate of his future in Miami really isn't looking so bright. But I really expected the offense to do more. But the key word that I will say about this Raiders team is resilience. And they consistently prove me right as far as me knowing what the gut is of this team, because it was a little bit of a gut check. But, you know, we started off slow. I wanted to ask you because other than scoring 25 straight points, I want to talk to you about going down 14-0.
Yeah.
So going down 14-0, how did you feel? Because this was, again, another slow start this week, okay? And it was something that we know it's going to need to start faster against those elite teams because we don't want to play with this kind of mindset. How did you feel about, you know, being down 14-0 and having to come back?
Sloppy ball, bro. I mean, the way that the game started, they played very sloppy. I mean, pick six to start the game, really disappointing. You know what I mean? Uncharacteristic of the way our boy DC's been starting the year and some of his offensive numbers. I know we'll cover it in a little bit, but I mean, very uncharacteristic because he's been taking care of the offense. He's been running the field like a general. I mean, he's been really, really exceeding a lot of my expectations. I think leading the league in the NFL right now in passing. I mean, that says a lot about who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the Gruden offense, you know, the Gruden machine, I should say, not the offense, is running. Disappointing to start the game. I thought we might have been in trouble, but stack some things up, bro, and right away, to use a term that you like to say, blood in the water, man. They were ready to go after a while, and that was it, man.
Yeah, and before we get into the stats, I just want to point out the two reasons why we went down 14-0. So Foster Moreau, as a third-year player, you expect him to have better communication and better know-how with the routes that Derek Carr asks for. So with that being said, Foster Moreau is to blame on that interception pick six because he didn't finish the route. If he would have simply finished the route, it would have been an incomplete pass. It probably would have been a bang, bang hit. He throws it to Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau gets hit by the linebacker, and it's an incomplete pass. Well, he stopped and did a hook rather than continuing to follow the route, and that's what turned into the pick six Now, secondarily, Gruden needs to have some better play calling, because when you have the ball in your own 35-yard line and you're going for it on a 4th and 1, why the fuck would you run the ball when you just got it stuffed? When you
Yeah.
can easily do a decoy play, fake the run, and do a pass to the flats and get your first down. Like, that's the one thing that always has kind of rubbed me the wrong with Gruden is he's an excellent offensive mind, but he's sometimes so predictable that people could just stack the box because they know he's going to want to shove it down their throats with the run game, where it's like, fucking run a decoy, run a decoy play, allow them to know that you've evolved in your play calling, and do a fake out to the flat. You have your first down. How did you feel about not only Foster Moreau not continuing that route and in the end resulting in a pick 6, but then going for it on your own 35? I get the notion of what he wanted to feel with the team, but it's like, why are you calling on a 4th and 1 a running play in which you just got stuffed? What's your reaction to that?
I mean, I don't really. I agree with what you're saying. First off, the thing is you want a momentum shift, which eventually did go their way. But I think, like you said, the play call to do it at that point, they stuffed it. Do something else. Don't do something that's easily anticipated. I mean, you literally just did the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This situation, it did not. I was unhappy with the play call. I would have went a bootleg route possibly if you were going to try and do something. But yeah, I mean, at least, you know what? Show me a quarterback keeper with Derek Carr. Stuff the fucking box. See if you can get in there. I mean, do something, have a different look. When you're lining up and it's the same look, man, I mean, basically you're conceding the play, in my opinion. I thought it was really boneheaded. Again, I'm not going to crucify him because, I mean, the end result was a dub. But again, you said it perfect. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to be able to capitalize because you have a difficult schedule. Not that you haven't already. And we could get into that in a little bit. However, yeah, like you said, man, you can't, you can't really do this because, if it goes down even further, and you're offensively going down 3 touchdowns, that's almost, to me personally, that's almost an insurmountable hill to overcome. Only the really elite teams can overcome a 21-0 lead, and that's normally taking place on a team like the Jets or the Texans are just hitting on something that is kind of a farce, and they're putting points up on the board, and then they make those adjustments, and then the team comes back, right? But the Dolphins are not that kind of a squad. They proved in this game that they will fight.
Yeah.
The fight was for the Raiders, but yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing. First few series, as far as the Foster Moreau thing, I get what they're trying to do because, game 1 they were jamming. I'm sorry, not game 1. Against the Steelers, they were really jamming Waller a lot, and they wanted to kind of take him out of the game. So I saw what they were doing to kind of mix it up, give a nice variety of things. And I know that you've been the one who's been whispering in my ear about kind of Foster Moreau and how he's going to be important to this offense. But I mean, if you have a limited capability or you're not as confident, these things are going to happen. And like you said, man, I was just really, disappointed at that point in time when you were watching the game and you were down 14. How are you feeling mentally as an absolute diehard with the black and silver running through your veins, man? How are you doing at your lady's cousin's house? Are you just flipping your shit and throwing fucking tables over and like ready to fucking Goldberg spear someone or what?
No, I mean, the thing is, it was early on enough where I knew that we had plenty of time to come back, but it's little mental mistakes like that that really makes you, I don't know. I mean, just kind of see that there is still growth, which it's great because of the mental toughness that they played with, moving throughout the game. But the thing is just with those mental mistakes not happening, think of how much bigger of a game it could have been. So that to
Yeah.
me, it shows that yes, this team has made, great strides, but there's still key elements that we need to really declare ourselves a top team in the league. But I'm excited because there's a lot pull away from this victory, a lot of things that we did well. I still have question marks about the offensive line, and we'll get into that. But I just want to hit you with some stats here, okay? Because I got some stuff here for you. So,
Lay it on me, man. Lay it on me. Let's hear it.
so first game in Baltimore, you have Derek Carr 435 yards, right? Pittsburgh 382, and versus Miami 386. Okay. Let's see here. We got for Peyton Barber. Okay, he finished with 23 carries, 111 yards. He had 5 carries for 60 yards going to the right tackle side, which is our man Leatherwood's side. I know a lot of give him shit, but again, he's a run blocker. The longest gain on that side went for 27 yards with 2 missed tackles, and the yards after contact were 55. Alex Leatherwood actually had a pass blocking graded at a team best of 75.9. And, with Derek Carr, for his rating by Pro Football Focus for that game was 84.3. Okay.
Okay.
So, I know that there were some predictions that we kind of made as far as, the players and whatnot we had, and I'll get to that. I just want to kind of go over some more numbers here. So, Derek Carr was 26 of 43 for 386 yards with an average of 9 yards through the air, 2 TDs, 1 interception, and the QBR wasn't great. It was 56.9, right? So these are the numbers that really stick out to me as the receiving numbers. So you have my man Brian Edwards, 3 receptions, 89 yards, with an average of 29.7 for his each catch, with a long of 34. He had a total of 5 targets. Got Henry Ruggs, 4 catches, 78 yards, targeted 7 times. Hunter Renfrow, 5 catches, 77 yards with a TD, targeted 6 times. Darren Waller targeted 7 times, only had 5 catches for 54. And then Kenyon Drake and Peyton Barber both had 3 catches apiece, right around 30 yards, a little bit more than 30 yards. The longest was Peyton Barber. He had a 23 yard catch and run. So he had 5 targets. Kenyon Drake had 6. Foster Moreau, again, 1 reception. He only was targeted twice. You know why. Yep. And, the thing was in this game offensively was what the offensive line, okay, we know they're young. We know they're inexperienced. Pretty much the anchor to that line is Colton Miller. And a lot of people were skeptical when he came out and was drafted from UCLA, because left tackle and right tackle are premier positions on the offensive line. Now, I'm not taking away from both guard positions and center, because those are equally important, but you have statistically more playmakers and just better players going up against your left and right tackles. So Alex Leatherwood did improve this game, which I was happy about, but Andre James just, I scratch my head sometimes at the things he does, because it's like, hey, listen, like, you are at a key position that you need to be on the same page with Derek Carr, right? So my thing is, moving forward, and I know John Gruden touched on it in the press conference he had just, I believe it was yesterday. just with like the exchanges and the snap going over his head. Like there was one snap that went over Derek Carr's head. It was a sack. Again, loss of yards. We were in a position where, we get that down back and, we could have moved the ball again. And the other one with, Derek Carr having to kind of scramble and throw it away, an intentional grounding pass. It's like, those are the things where the inexperience is coming through. And before we get to our players that we kind of some whiffed on and some hit on.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the growth of the offensive line in the second half, but the mishaps and miscues in the first half? Because it seems to be a common theme that in the first half and the miscues happening, it'll happen in that, beginning part of the game. So it kind of makes us come off to a slow start. So give me your thoughts on those 2 points.
I just think you're looking at young linemen, man. I mean, I think the inexperience and the growth is going to come. You don't know necessarily the scheme. I mean, yeah, that's great. You know kind of what they're going to throw at you. You have an idea, but you got to remember they plan just like you plan. So until that first half is really over, you don't know what the pregame prep, how effective it really was. In this situation, their pregame prep for me wasn't executed or wasn't up to par with what the execution of the Miami Dolphins came out with. Now you go into halftime, and that's why the men sit up in the box. They get the overviews, they look at the scheme, they look at what they're running, and now you make your adjustments at the half. Thank goodness for the Raidernation that we did. We made those adjustments, and really in the second half, you really saw them start to put together a better plan, a better scheme, and you saw key blocks. You saw a lot of the miscues get cleaned up, and honestly, they really put it together. And I think that the offensive line in the second half, their performance is really vital to the victory, because if you look at the way the win came, it was really that drive and their meticulous precision of executing what needed to be done, fault-free, error-free, penalty-free, got down the field and was able to capitalize. So for me, I think second half was huge success. I still want to chalk it up to youth. I want to chalk it up to, like I said, the pregame planning. Miami decoyed their defense. They really disrupted the line, and I mean, and end of the day, I mean, you got to be happy with the adjustments. I mean, who would you say offensively, as far as offensive line wise, really was the ringleader, was the captain, so to speak, to kind of get everybody's head back in the game and say, yo, let's fucking do this. Like, clean the shit up. Let's get our minds in it. Who do you think was that main dude on the line to get them all rallied together?
Well, I mean, you turn to Colton Miller because he has the most experience and he's played with the best men around him. So, I mean, as far as that's concerned, it's going to be Colton Miller who's going to get everyone together and just say, hey, listen, we need to settle in. We need to stop making these little mistakes and get your positioning and your alignment better. So this way, no matter what it is, because, Miami Dolphins did blitz a good amount and they had a good pass rush, which, remember, we talked about. Miami's defense is not bad. Like, I don't know what this whole notion is that we played a scrub Miami team, because Tua and Jacoby Brissett, I feel like, are exactly the same player. Like, there's not an uptick or downtick in, abilities. So I think with Jermaine Illuminor, he's been actually a great addition ever since we lost Denzel Good, because Denzel Good was that was the right side kind of anchor for our guard and keeping Alex Leatherwood in check. And with Jermaine Illuminor and Colton Miller, those are two solid pieces. And I know people are going to talk shit and say, oh, Illuminor's not that great. But guess what? He gets the job done. He's not a big name. person, and he's not maybe a sexy pick for you all. But the thing is does he get the job done?
Exactly.
With Andre James, I just think he needs to get his positioning better, because not only am I pissed off about the snaps and putting Derek Carr in jeopardy because of just the inconsistency with the snaps early on. There was a couple plays where I saw him just get rolled over, and it's like, dude, you got to get to the lowest man, possible, and get that drive and push, because if somebody's going to try to come at you like that, we both know the lowest man wins, right? Because it's all about positioning, especially, when you're playing center, you're the one who kind of knows when the ball's coming off. So you naturally have a little bit more time than the person in front of you to position yourself better. So he needs to work on his reaction and his foot alignment, just because I feel like there were some things that I didn't like in that game, which, yes, they made adjustments in the second half. But again, going forward with our schedule, we're going to be playing good teams in bunches. So that needs to not be an issue with us coming off to a slow start. And I think with Richie Incognito coming back off the IR once he kind of serves his time, and man, I really hope that he's healthy for the whole year, because I think he is really going to anchor that line with Colton Miller on that left side. But Alex Leatherwood, he did improve. Yeah, there were pressures, but at the same time, he didn't give up any sacks. And, right tackle is not an easy position to play. Like, people think right tackles are going to come in and just be all pros. Now, granted, you have some people who have had good outings so far 3 weeks in, but they've also not gone up against the pass rush that we have as far as, who that right tackle is going up against. Now, I'll be curious as to see how the Chargers defend us on that right side, because they have a rookie on that side coming up in this next matchup, but that's going to be for next show.
Yep.
But I love the way that the offensive line came together in the second half.
Yeah.
Like I said, the slow starts, the messiness, the lack of just making consistent, mental errors is just not good, because we're messing up in the first half of the game. And that's like the most crucial part, because you want to start fast, right? Because we've been ending games like crazy. Like, Derek Carr has crazy numbers in the fourth quarter, second half, and our line steps up. But it's like, why put yourself behind the curve, playing like that, to where we have to go down in the hole and we're fumbling the ball, we're having a lot of pressure, and then everything kind of switches in the second half. So my whole take is the offensive line is the only thing that still kind of worries me, even though we are 3-0. I'm super thankful for it, because Rick dropped that stat on us, 3 straight wins against 10 plus, previous teams that were 10 plus wins last year. It's great. And, we want to keep it moving. And like you said, as that unit does get experience, I believe that they will continue to thrive and get stronger. Now, I want to move to what our predictions were, and I want you to comment on it, because I know there were some that we both whiffed on and some that we actually hit on. So,
well, I want to just touch on one thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
One awesome stat: 4 players with over 200 yards receiving: Ruggs, Waller, Edwards, Renfro. Right?
Yep. And that's for the year.
First team in NFL history.
Yep.
So really a testament, because we were talking about the offensive line, right? If you do not give your main man, DC, the opportunity to be able to distribute this, rock, like he has, those stats don't come up. So another nugget there of dope history that's being made.
Yeah.
That, again, the haters won't recognize. You won't hear that on, NFL Sunday Countdown. You won't hear that shit, because the bottom line is that, the Raiders aren't the sexy pick yet. But I have a feeling the tide's turning. So I apologize. Let's get on these good old predictions, because I think you hit more home runs than I did last week.
Yeah, and I just think that there's players who played better than we expected, you know? And
Yeah.
I think your best one that I'll call out, and he still really didn't get much love because, you know, I don't know for whatever reason. It's just because he's not a big name. But Trayvon Mullen, man, like you called that of him having a great game,
Oh yeah.
Vince, and he was, if I'm not mistaken here, let me just pull this up real quick. So Trayvon Mullen, let's see here. Trayvon Mullen actually led the defensive backs with a coverage grade of 77.4. He was targeted 8 times with 4 receptions and only allowed 33 yards, with the longest reception going for 9 yards. And he had 2 pass breakups, and a QB rating was a team best 60.9. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you what this man is doing on the back end, I really think that not only does that speak to his maturity, uh, on defense, because, you know, 75.6, now it wasn't the highest on defense, but on the secondary, it was only him and Trayvon Merrick who were up there, as far as, you know, being in the 75s. But, you know, that has Casey Hayward written all over it for me,
Oh
because
yeah.
the thing is I think he's getting his hands on these players, and he's actually, you know, teaching them and coaching them up, especially in this system. And Trayvon Mullen has done a lot better job this year, just being in better positions, because he was out of positions when he was younger. Because I think the biggest thing is the adjustment to the speed of the game from college to NFL. So, you know, I want to tip my hat off to you for that, as well as Jonathan Hankins, man. He had a great game as well. And again, as you said, he was impactful in the game. You didn't say he was going to be a superstar of the game.
Nope.
He was impactful, and he really did impact the running game a lot. So go ahead. The floor is yours, man, and speak on it for what you picked.
No, I felt like it was like Hankins was one that I felt needed the defensive tackles needed to get in there to mix it up. And I mean, that was kind of like one of those things where, you know, Mad Max would have been easy for me to call out, you know what I mean? But no, I wanted to go a little, you know, unconventional. And like I said, he really did disrupt it. And the thing is that a lot of these guys who are on the defensive line are going to start to get recognized, because, you know, there's going to be a lot more double teams there. I mean, the defense is proving that it's something in the NFL that you're going to have be something, a force. I'm talking like top 5. So for me, when you're starting to double a lot of the premier guys, you're going to see those next tier guys who are going to step up, and now you're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to them, which again was the case with Trayvon Mullen, right? Because, I mean, Trayvon Mullen also came out, and I mean, you know, Casey Hayward, right? Dude still did a lot a lot of damage this week.
That was one of
But
my guys. That was one of my
yeah,
guys.
exactly. But I mean, exactly. He has proven himself every week that he's been there.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you're going to have to step up. And I felt like Trayvon Mullen really stepped up in a big way this week. You spoke on it perfectly. He's maturing. He's seeing the game. It might be slowing down for him. So it's allowing him to mentally process more, make his adjustments, and really lock down a lot of these receivers out there to be able to get the coverage that gives them less opportunity, and in turn gets your offense on the field more and allows that defense to rest. So, I mean, for me, great. You know, it was great seeing these guys show out. But like I said, I feel like your guys really hit the big bombs, the sexier bombs this week, man.
Well, you know, I can't remember who I called out on offense. I mean, it was Derek Carr, basically going over 400 yards, and I was close on that. But
Yep.
he was at 386. But
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back and look, but I think I know that offline conversations, you've been massively high on Peyton Barber, and he really, really came out in a big way this week.
Yeah.
and really showed that, I mean, I love Kenyon Drake. I give Kenyon Drake a lot of love, man. I
He
mean,
seems a
but
little
at the
banged
same
up,
time,
though. He seems like he's
yeah.
a little banged up right now.
And that's just the thing is that he's not playing like a premier Kenyon Drake, like when he's at his best.
Yeah.
So this was really the game that Peyton Barber was like, yo, feed me the rock. Little disappointed that basically they cut ties with one of our boys, but yeah, I mean that was a little disappointing to me because I feel like he never got started, but they brought Richards in, and we'll see what happens with that. And I mean, what can you do? I mean, I thought that really Peyton Barber and again, you calling out DC, like DC had 2 great weeks. I wasn't sure what he was really going to do, but I mean, dude, this dude is slinging it.
I found a confidence in Derek Carr just because the fact of he's actually in a system now for 4 years. I think the most he was ever in a system with a offensive coordinator was 2 years. Because they had something like 6 different coordinators in like 7 years, or no, it was like 5 different coordinators in 6 years or something like that, right?
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, something crazy. Or no, it was 4 coordinators in 5 different years, right? And then once Greg Olson came in with John Gruden, it was just pretty much. I think that's where he kind of found his person. And the thing is he's now getting more confident. He knows the system. Gruden will give him 4 or 5 plays and he'll just kind of pick, the best one of the litter and then just kind of go from there. And I think as this offensive line kind of shores up, it's going to be even better for us because we're not even hitting on all cylinders right now. And we don't even have Josh Jacobs. So that's the scary thing is like, we're doing this with Peyton Barber. And, I really have felt good about Peyton Barber because I see his run style. And it's not so much that he's not capable of doing it. It's just that I think the moments that he's came to play, he hasn't been able to capitalize because of either the system he was in or the play calling. And I really do feel like it's been something that has kind of been long awaited as far as for his coming out party. And I know I was maybe a week too early because I thought it was going to happen against Pittsburgh. But again, Pittsburgh has a great run defense. Miami kind of had themselves exposed a little bit. But, one thing I will say, these are the 2 guys that I hit on defense is Nate Hobbs and Casey Hayward. Okay. So with Nate Hobbs, let me just go back here because I could have sworn I saw Nate Hobbs was one of the ones who was high in the PFF rating for Pro Football Focus. So Nate Hobbs was actually, let's see here, 73.5. So you had Trayvon Merrick at 75.9, Trayvon Mullen at 75.6, and then Nate Hobbs at 73.5. So, I mean, I did pick well on the defensive side of the ball. I will say, like, defensive side of the ball, and then Derek Carr. I can't remember who my receiver was because I could have sworn, I don't know if I said Hunter Renfrow was going to get in the end zone this week, but I almost think I did say that. And I'm not going to give myself the credit because I have to go back to the last episode and look. But, the ones that I whiffed on was Kwiatkowski and KJ Wright, because the thing is with Kwiatkowski and KJ Wright, it's just one of those things where, it's just one of those things where I want KJ Wright to really do good. Yeah. So the thing is with like Kwiatkowski and KJ Wright, I was really just feeling that, well, KJ Wright has been getting less snaps, right? Because the thing is, he has like some kind of undisclosed injury, which, hasn't been discussed yet. And I think that's going to be something that, is going to be outed kind of once we get to the injury report this upcoming week. And then with Kwiatkowski, he actually played pretty good, and I was happy to see him back. Now he's just coming off that concussion. But again, overall, I think the best pickup for us on that, linebacking unit is Denzel Perryman. Like, Denzel Perryman has been the stud pickup. And I don't think that this defense would be as solid as it would be if we didn't get him from Carolina. What do you think?
Um,
And I'm talking about in the middle too.
I'm interested. That's what I was doing, was I was trying to see if I could find anything on the KJ Wright injury. He's got weak ankles, and I'm not saying that as like a label, but he has a history of having ankle injuries. So that could be something that is preventing him from seeing the field more than we'd like. I think overall, Kwiatkowski, I don't know, Littleton's been playing decent. Perryman's been playing great.
Littleton had his best game, I think, last game. Last game was his best game so far of the season. And I think he's starting to come into his own in Gus Bradley's defense.
So the guy who I really am excited for, who had a great week 1 that I really want to see, he has flashes of brilliance, and I'd like to see him step up a little bit more, is Divine Diablo.
Divine Diablo, he's too young. Like, he actually gave up a pass play that I was really disappointed on, during the game. And he'll get better as time progresses, just because he's coming from that strong safety spot down to a linebacking spot. But check this out. So I want to drop something on you right now. So Solomon Thomas recorded yet another sack.
Yep.
And 5 pressures and 4 hurries. And he also had a forced fumble, which they did recover. But guess who else was in there with hurries? Again, my man, Darius Philon. Now, the Raiders, from what it says here, they had 30 stops led by Denzel Perryman, 6. So that impresses me a lot, because from what I was looking at, right? So the defense with, this game versus the Dolphins, on third down efficiency was 6 of 18. They had 197 passing yards allowed with 2 sacks and 7 QB hits. Those are good numbers, man.
I mean, the defense, we can't, I think that's the constant that has kept them in games and has allowed the offense to experiment more and continue to keep going. Even if the offense falls short on a drive or two, that D is stout. It is showing a continued effort and a effort that we didn't see last year. It is constant and it is there. The secondary is beefed up, and I know that you and I have talked about it. People, chatter, the secondary needs to be increased. I think everything's working. Right now, everything's working. Allow these guys to get a little bit of momentum, get a little bit of swagger in their step. They're going to play more confident, and that's going to allow them to show out more. And that's the one thing that I really liked in this game, was during all of the ups and downs of this game, while they were really down, the D stuck with it. And you had key plays all over the ball, all different positions coming together, and honestly allowing the Raiders to be able to get back into it. And as soon as halftime came up, man, you knew where the momentum was going. You already knew where it was. So, I mean, for me, I really think that the defense of the Raiders is really a big is really a huge success so far this year.
Yeah, and I think it's underappreciated. Now, the one thing that kind of upset me, because remember I said I was like, hey, I think Yannick Ngakoue is going to have 1.5 sacks this game. This is what's really getting me, because he hasn't had his sack yet.
Okay.
He had 5 pressures, okay? Him and Max Crosby together had 11 total pressures. So if I'm calculating this right, you got 22 total pressures on Miami's quarterback in that game. So you had Solomon Thomas was one of the ones who got home on one. You had Quentin Jefferson who got home on one, and Carl Nassib who got home on one. I mean, at least that's what they're credited with. So the thing that just kind of upsets me, and it's going to bring me to my next point, is our secondary, like you said, it's massively improved, right? You got Abram playing under control. You have Casey Hayward doing a great job, Trayvon Merrick and Trayvon Mullen, who are playing great. Okay, Nate Hobbs is doing an excellent job. He's still the highest graded rookie secondary player according to PFF. And the thing that really upsets me is Damon Arnett. Okay, not only did he give up that 2-point conversion for them to tie.
Yes.
Just listen to this, though, because I know that we drafted him in the first round, but these are the 2020 first round cornerbacks and their status currently right now. You have at number 3, Jeff Okuda, right? 10 career games out with an Achilles. CJ Henderson, 10 games, traded in year 2. Damon Arnett, 381 career snaps, benched. Noah Igbenogany, 287 career snaps, and Jeff Gladney at number 31, cut in August. So anyone who talks shit about the 2020 first round cornerbacks, they all weren't great. Nobody hit on them. Everyone who picked a cornerback in the first round in 2020 is all.
No, you're not lying. Yeah, you're not lying. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's just the thing is I want him to play more aware. I want him to know the scheme a little bit better and not just so easily just get turned around, because the thing is when he goes out there, it makes me nervous, you know? And the thing is I know you were talking about HaHa Clinton Dix getting some playing time.
Oh, yeah.
I was really upset because we didn't see him. I mean, he actually had no snaps along with Patrick Onwuzar, you know? So, I mean, the thing is it's like he got in on special teams twice. HaHa Clinton Dix did, but it's just, you know, with someone like that, he's a veteran. I know you should try to work him in some packages, but I mean, we got to start getting some more of these guys some time to prove, you know, whether or not they're going to be worthy to, you know, get in on certain packages on defense, because as good as our defense has been playing, they're going to get tired against those better teams. So we have to have those solid rotational guys, because I don't think we have the best rotation right now, that we need to work on improving it as, you know, the weeks progress.
So for me, I think you're going to start to see that rotation, and I want to get your opinion on this because I don't want to take too much away from our week 4 show, but I think you're going to see a lot of the rotation that you were just talking about. I think it's coming up this game.
Again,
okay. Yeah. And this is the reason being, okay. This is a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that is almost another home game for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And the intensity and the energy level right now we're recording this on a Tuesday is already there, that this is one of the hype games for the week.
Yeah.
This is a great game that's going to come up. These guys in practice right now, I can only imagine are like speedballing it through practice right now, because they are ready to go.
Yeah.
When you're ready to go and you're playing with that much intensity, you burn energy very fast.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the whole team ready to go. I think, like you said, this is the week that you start to see, number one, how legit the defense is on, not to say that the teams we haven't played aren't great.
Yeah.
But as far as a maximum team effort of subbing guys in, getting guys off the field, and making sure that you don't step down when those other guys come in that haven't been in the interchangeable mix. Like, what's your feeling on that?
Yeah, I mean, not to get into too much and take away from the pregame show, because I know that we're going to do the pregame on the Chargers, is the best thing that I can say is we have players coming back from the IR with Nick Morrow, Javen White. You know, you got Jalen Richard on offense. Now, Keyshawn Nixon, to be honest with you, he's improved a lot, especially since he's been in this team. And now with Gus Bradley, I think Gus Bradley is actually getting better play out of him just because I think cover 3 is more to his strength. So I'm really rooting for Arnett. And the thing is like,
Yeah.
just show up, like do what you have to do to get better. Because remember, we were talking about this. Okay, you made the mistake. Now, what are you doing to improve on that so you don't make that moving forward?
Yes.
And I see him making dumb mistakes where I'm just like, you're not a rookie anymore. Like this is your second year in the league. And the thing is yes, you were injured, you had concussions, you had COVID, you were, lighter than you usually play. But at the same time, it's like this team is a win now team. Like we're trying to win as much as we can. And I wouldn't doubt if these players had more than just the playoffs on their mind. Like they're taking it week by week, but long term, big picture for this year, they want to go for that Lombardi. And the defense is playing like that. Because if you look at the defensive tackles that we have, I think we have one of the best defensive tackle depths in the NFL. And with the 2 guys on the end with Yannick and Max, those 2 guys are in the top 10 for defensive ends in the league. You have the 2nd and the 9th, defensive end in the league. So, I mean, it's just something that, like I said, with Arnett, maybe he needs to just do some extra time, in practice, getting with Casey Hayward, getting with Trayvon Mullen, and maybe going up against the ones a little bit more. Cause I don't know how much work he gets with the ones, but the time is now for his development, because we can't just keep waiting, because like I said, he can find himself on the outside come year 3. He could be trade bait. I don't know, but
yeah, you just hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. But cool stat for you though is Denzel Perryman. Like I said, he's been killing it. He's number 3 right now for the top linebackers in the league.
Oh yeah.
And the only 2 who are higher than him, the number 1, you should already know because he's the best linebacker in the league, Bobby Wagner. Second one in front of him is Eric Kendricks, which is another beast. So, I mean, it's nice to see those individual players wearing the silver and black. And, as far as special teams, man, because I know we were talking about, defense here and just kind of who the standouts were. Daniel Carlson, man. Dude, Daniel Carlson is tied for number 1 in the league with 34 points right now.
I love that.
I will say though, so if he did not miss that extra point, we wouldn't be going to overtime. We wouldn't have gone into overtime. And like I said, these little things are like key mistakes where they don't seem big, but when you kind of dial them up and look at them from, a perspective of sitting back and reflecting back on the game, these little things add up to a lot. And again, that's the difference between us being a championship team, a playoff team, and just missing the playoffs. So, it's just mental mistakes that we're going to have to get better with. And, overall, I mean, shoot, we won 31-28, as far as the box score is concerned. We had 497 total yards of offense, 357 passing yards, 140 rushing yards with 28 first downs. And again, this has Gruden written all over it, 38 minutes and 47 seconds time of possession. So I just want to ask you, what were some things that you seen on the defensive side of the ball that you see as maybe it could be problematic down the road, and what could be our strength just as we continue to play some of these deeper teams, because we are going to start playing teams that have, equal amount of depth as us?
Honestly, the thing that I look at is on defense. I honestly think I think the one thing that we might be weakest in the area, and I don't even necessarily want to even say it, is the linebacking core. Now, I'm not necessarily, I don't want anybody to try and get after me, right? Because I'm a Corey Littleton fan. I said that from the beginning since week one. I definitely think Perriman is a top tier guy, but beyond that is what I'm worried about. If there's an injury or something like that, where I think that's where you fall victim to the weakness. Also in our safety game, because God forbid something happens to Abram. I know that you have I know that you got Moore back there and he's questionable coming up this week right now. So right now for your starters, I'm really not that worried, but it's the when we were talking about before that, like subbing in and coming in and out, that's what worries me is your studs can't be on the field all the time, especially if your offense starts to fall short. I think that's where the war of attrition, that's really where you start to find yourself on real thin ice. So
well, I mean, the thing is though is, let's see, so Nick Morrow is coming back and he's been a top guy, and I'm not gonna lie, like Nicholas Morrow is not a slouch at all. I really think that him mixed with Perryman is actually going to be a force. So I don't think the linebacking core would drop off because he did get injured initially, but he's coming back from IR. And Jalen White, I actually projected him to be really high because he's actually progressed really well in the system. He was an undrafted rookie and he's been on the practice squad, and he was actually due to make the team this year, and he balled out in preseason. So those two guys are both linebackers coming back from the IR, and they're going to be eligible this week. And it looks like they're healthy, along with Jalen Richard, which that's why, as much as it hurts me about Trey Regis, Jalen Richard, you're paying him $3.5 million. He's going to do something, like he's going to pass catch out of the backfield. He's going to be your second option to Josh Jacobs, or even the third option behind Peyton Barber now. So, I mean, you're going to have Kenyon Drake and Jalen Richard battling out with pass catching. But the thing is Jalen Richard is a better pass blocker.
So my question to you is, with the statement you just made, do you feel like Kenyon Drake is almost on the outs?
He's not on the outs. I'll tell you exactly, and shouts out to Mitchell Renz because he's huge in Raider Nation. And he did point this out, which I did heavily agree with him on. He doesn't know who I am, but I watch his show all the time, and he's actually huge in Raider Nation. So they can appreciate the shout out to him. Is he's a joker role. That's exactly what he's going to be. He's going to be a joker role. I mean, I don't think he got brought in here to be a backup to Josh Jacobs, but at the same time, it was like a secondary thought where it's like, okay, Josh Jacobs is out now. So what are we going to do? That's why we picked up Peyton Barber, because it's like, okay, well, we're really not going to intend on running a lot with Kenyon Drake. We're going to use him as a joker. So who's going to step up? In comes Peyton Barber. So I don't think Kenyon Drake, Kenyon Martin. I don't know why I said that. Kenyon Drake is on the outs. It's just, he's going to play his unique role as being that joker role. So with him there, Josh Jacobs coming back, Jalen Richard there, it's going to be kind of a crowded running back room. So I'm excited, and I'm also interested to see what happens with that rotation, because if Peyton Barber does get released or sent back to the practice squad or waived, I think somebody might pick him up, especially after what he's done. So I think if they're smart, they keep him on the active roster and just have 4 running backs, because Kenyon Drake is essentially another wide receiver, So you got to free up that roster spot, because I honestly don't want anyone to get Peyton Barber, because God forbid something happens to Josh Jacobs again, where he has an injury where he's out another 2-3 games. I mean, he's a serviceable backup.
You want to talk about the injury report before we shut this bad boy down?
You can go ahead.
Well, no, that's why I'm asking you, man, because I got a couple of guys on here that I got As far as who we still got, I got basically Josh Jacobs is questionable right now. I know that Jalen Richard, like you said, he's getting ready to come off the injured reserve.
Yep.
Richie Incognito is eligible to cut. I mean, was actually placed on the 25th.
Yeah. So eligible to come back. Was it 3 or 4 weeks?
I think it's a minimum of 3 weeks on the IR. So, yeah. I know that Roderick Teamer is questionable this week. Dallin Levitt is on there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Roderick Teamer get back and see what he could do, because I mean, he's one of another one of Gus's, guys that he brought in. So he's not a Gus disciple like KJ Wright and Perryman, because I don't think he has that level of playing him. But he's young. He was good on Gus's teams. And I just want to see what he does. But who else did you say?
Dallin Levitt.
Yeah, Dallin Levitt's going to be more of a special teamer. And again, I wasn't really high on him, so I don't think we're really losing much. I think that's where you insert Roderick Teamer over Dallin Levitt.
And like I said, the other guy who was big for me was Trayvon Mullen is also questionable.
Yeah, which
he had an ankle injury and ended up leaving the game against Miami.
So this is the thing that I'm going to say, because I know you brought up Jonathan Abram, God forbid if anything happens to him.
Yeah.
And you may not know a lot about him, but Tyree Gillespie is who we drafted this year. This kid is actually really solid, and he's a thumper just like him. I think he has a little bit bigger of a frame because he's closer in height to Nate Hobbs. But, the dude's a big cat, and I think he's just waiting to get his opportunity. So I wouldn't be mad with Abram coming out, because if something does happen, I think we have a real serviceable, young, up-and-coming safety. But again, I don't want to lose Abram because I love him. I mean, you just can't replace that type of guy on the team. Now, as far as Trayvon Merrick the thing is Trayvon Mullen ruined that interception deep in the zone with that penalty he got. And I was so pissed, because that was literally going to be Trayvon Merrick's first pick. If he didn't get that pass interference on him and hit into Trayvon Merrick, which caused that injury, I mean, we'd be having a different conversation right now. So that's the only thing that really pissed me off with Trayvon Mullen, which I'm really praying that Trayvon Merrick is okay, because we really need that safety play, especially against the Chargers coming up. And Derwin James has his own issues on the other side, but again, we'll save that for the next episode with the pregame for the Chargers and Raiders. But I just want to get some final thoughts here. So overall, I think the offense played great. Derek Carr played great. The offensive line came alive in the second half. It's still a concern of mine, as all of Raider Nation pretty much is aware of. They're young, they're inexperienced. They're up to the task, though. And that's the one thing I will say is they fight. They continue to push through. No matter what happens, they get back, they line up, and they're ready to keep playing. I love the ball distribution. And Brian Edwards, watch him to only continue to blossom. And Henry Ruggs is literally just coming alive. We're seeing the maturation of Henry Ruggs and just what he can do, because I believe that he is that Tyreek Hill, to the Mahomes, as far as Derek Carr to Henry Ruggs, which is amazing. I just want to kind of get your last thoughts, offensively, defensively. I'll kind of give you my last takes, and then we'll kind of wrap this up so we can get out of here for the night.
I really was. One thing that we talked about last week was worried about Xavier Howard. I think Hunter Renfrow made quick work of that dude. So that was actually really nice.
Oh, he jumped, and he was like a good foot over him, I think.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
So, I mean, like I said, too close for comfort this week. We predicted a little bit more of a comfortable win. Defensively, I want to say that they would honestly get the MVP for the week. Although offensively, I think that barring any issues with health, injury, we're looking at a Derek Carr that Raider Nation, a lot of people who last year were wanting this dude to be shipped off in the offseason are really eating their words right now, because my man's leading the league right now in passing. You're absolutely right. If you watch any of his post-game interviews, his confidence is bolstered and he just has a belief in himself and the unit. I really think that it was a very
contract, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is playing for a contract, but at the same time, it doesn't even, when he's talking and when he's conducting himself on the field, you could just tell like he's got like a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and he's ready to go. And you notice that he doesn't let go of the fact of him being injured in previous years and how that's hindered his growth. I think now with his health and everything that he's got going on, everything is trending upward, and we're seeing the Derek Carr that a lot of people wanted to see a while ago. This was a great team effort win. And like I said, although there were ups, downs, it was like a roller coaster at the end of it. Once you get off the ride, you're like, let's do it again. And I really enjoyed this game this week. So look forward to the LA Chargers this week.
Yeah. And just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, I think, the offense still has some growing to do. And I think what Raider Nation needs to realize is this is actually a good thing, because we're not even firing on all cylinders right now. Just wait for us to fire on all cylinders so you can get excited and have a little bit of disappointment because of what's going on. The offensive line play needs to strengthen. We're without Josh Jacobs, and Derek Carr is playing out of his mind and putting the team on his back. So, I mean, it's proving to you that we have a legit leader of the team, a field general, with a plug-and-play offensive line without our top 5 easily running back in the NFL. So that should make Raider Nation kind of feel good as to we're only going to continue to move up. And especially with the insurance of this defense flipping from being, like we said, the target was middle of the pack. If we just get middle of the pack defense, which I think right now they're kind of around like maybe 12th, I want to say, like that's kind of like the ranking of the overall defense, which is above expectations. And they could even continue thriving, because with all the hurries they get, those turning into sacks is just something that we will see. I think that's going to continue to develop as well as they play more with each other. I mean, there's nothing but great things to take away. Yes, they have us in cardiac arrest every fucking game, but I think that's just the way of the Raiders, and that's just what it is. Just win, baby. I don't care how you do it. Just win, come out on top, and pledge allegiance to the shield. That's what it is. I think Al Davis will be really happy of this team. And going into the Chargers, we're going to take them serious, but this is Gus Bradley and Ron Milas's revenge game. You have Perryman, Casey Hayward, even Darius Philon, he was on the Chargers too. So, I mean, you have guys on there who want to really show out and have a good showing and, just prove like, hey, man, the Raiders are here to stay and we're not playing around. Like, we're about to stick it to them. So I think all in all, I agree with everything you said, man. Raider Nation has a lot to look forward to. So,
well said.
Yeah, I just want to say, hey, man, thanks again for joining me for another episode. We're going to come back in a couple days, do the pregame. I don't know if you want to do it on Saturday or Sunday, just so we can kind of put together whatever we need to. But again, really appreciate Raider Nation. Please like, subscribe, and share. Our subscribers are going up. Again, we're growing the channel. We're trying to do the best we can. The videos will continue to improve. I'm kind of working on the back end with some people just to get more educated on these videos. This way we got good quality. We got some good music. We'll have our tags on here for both my brother and I. And again, thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Rican Brothers Raider Nation podcast. Much love to everybody.